Mamaka by Ovolo General Manager Joel Bartlett. Good evening, Joel. How are you?
Good evening, Hans. Good evening, SEA Today News team. How are you all?
We're good.
We're good. We're good. Now, Joel, probably just jump on to our first question. The Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia has just concluded yesterday and attracting local and international tourists alike to Lombok. What's the hotel occupancy rate during the international event like? Was there any effect on Bali tourism as well, from your point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. There was definitely a positive effect from the MotoGP that was held on in Lombok over the weekend. Obviously, we had some guests visitors who came to Bali pre-GP and obviously after the GP as well. So congratulations to the Indonesian government for getting it all set up. And, it's such a big thing for Indonesia to have this significant event. And more importantly, it's great for Lombok and obviously great for Bali as well.
So Joel, I'm really curious about the occupancy rate of Bali nowadays and also the rate itself, because if we compare to last month or last 2 months, the rate now doubles compared to the previous one. Maybe triple. That's a good thing for tourism in Bali. That's not a good thing for us, like tourists like us in Jakarta. But more international events will be held in Indonesia, as we know. Can you tell us how it can boost the tourism sector, especially for hotels?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these major events that Bali and Indonesia is managing to secure is doing wonders for for tourism, and especially here in Bali. It's something that both local and domestic governments have been working on, and it's only going to benefit the hotels here in Bali. There are a lot of hotels here in Bali, and all these events contribute to our room nights. And yes, as you said, the room rates will slowly but surely be going up. But you've got a room here at Mamaka. If you want to stay, I'll look after you.
Oh, that quite a promise.
Yeah. All right. So could you share a bit about the situation of the tourism sector, especially during the pandemic? I mean, it's a hard moment, hard time for especially the tourism sector. What strategy has Mamaka developed to survive in the past 3 years?
Yeah, fantastic question. And yeah, it's been obviously the past 2 years has been very difficult for the Indonesian tourism sector, and Bali here especially was hit significantly hard. I guess for Mamaka, we put ourselves in a position where our marketing strategy and our focus for sales was really on the domestic market, and that's what's helped us to survive and be sustainable for the last 12 months. And that meant trips, with myself and sales teams going to, Jakarta and Solo and Surabaya and Yogyakarta and really, connecting with these cities and meeting the agents and really building up the markets here. And, we're starting to see the fruits of our fruit tradition coming through now. We've got a lot of domestic groups coming through, which is fantastic to see.
Mm-hmm. Now, what we have been looking forward to is coming to Bali as a domestic travelers. Not only that, international tourists also, I bet, have been wanting to come to Bali now that they have been allowed to enter Bali without quarantine since March the 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong. How do you prepare to welcome them?
Well, first we all have a quick celebration because this is fantastic news for the industry. I can speak for all the hotels, all the restaurants, all the bars. The hospitality sector here in Bali is thrilled. And how we prepare for that is, obviously over the past 12 months, we've kept the hotels open, we've trained our staff, we've really connected with our guests that are coming to stay with us. And really make sure that we're staying in touch with the travel agents, both domestic and internationally as well. And I myself just came through Melbourne. I arrived back to Bali 2 days ago, and the transition through the airport and getting through is exceptionally well organised by the local government and the airport authorities. It's smooth sailing. The great news was that the flight was completely full, and it's so inspiring to see that the international market is so excited to be back here in Bali, and it's a great thing for us. So we're really excited.
Really excited.
We're very excited, Joel, and we are so happy that the government now, put the free quarantine free for international tourists. But if, this is an uncertain time and we still don't know about the future when it comes to the pandemic, is there any anticipation in your side and in the tourism industry in Bali if things get once again worse?
Oh, hopefully, no.
Yeah, I like that last sentence. Hopefully not. Of course, I mean, here in Bali and Greater Indonesia in general, the consensus is that Indonesia and Bali have done a fantastic job in terms of managing COVID-19 and all these additional outbreaks. I mean, the policies and procedures that were implemented by the local government here in Bali were exceptional. The hotel has, very strict measures in terms of cleanliness and protocol that we follow quite strictly. So, should we see any effects or anything further beyond what we've already experienced, we will be prepared.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I mean, we also were very happy to hear there's one airline that took a lot of passengers from Australia to Bali because, they miss Bali a lot. And the Minister Dantian a couple of months ago said, people are asking me, when can we go back to Bali? So I want to ask you, is it a good time to go to Bali right now? Or when do you think is a good time? I mean, I'm traveling to Bali tomorrow, but unfortunately staying in Nusa Dua.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question, and it's such it's time. The time is now. It's everything's vibing. The hotels are back online. Mamaka itself, we've got all our guest experiences ready to go, and the good news is we've already started to welcome international guests to the property, and it's, as you said, it's the sun shining now, and we're just out of the wet season, so really now until end of October, beginning of November, it's smooth, perfect weather. So absolutely get on board and come to Bali now.
Wow, I'm looking forward to. But in this time of, I can't say the end of the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, but we will be trying to find a way to go around it. But also one of the things that have been emphasized by the government of Indonesia is how people are being asked to implementing the protocols, the health protocols. And I know that there in Bali, like a lot of hoteliers, and I don't know if you're actually corresponding with other hotel in the area. How is your emphasizement on people doing the health protocols there in Bali when they are actually in the hotels or any environment around the hotels?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And as I said before, it's really important that we continue to maintain the current practices and procedures that we have here in the hotels. They've worked well for us. For me as a general manager, it's important that my staff and employees are protected, and obviously the guests that come to the property are protected as well. And we will continue to enforce these measures until the day that COVID's completely gone. And if we've learned anything from it, I mean, all it means to me is that we have to continue to always ensure that the safety and security of our staff and our guests is there.
Right. It's getting more interesting nowadays that if you look at the perception of Indonesians now moving and living in Bali, they would say that, hey, there's a man with a laptop on a coffee shop with a mask on. There must be Jakartan.
WFB, working
exactly.
from Bali.
In Canggu, right, there are lots of bule. They're not wearing masks. There must be people coming from all around the world and not paying attention to health protocols. Look down on it. So, Joel, what I'm asking is, how do you make sure that all your guests respect and also conform to the health protocols? Because as Hans previously mentioned, we are not yet done with this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think everybody knows that you have to follow the country's policies and procedures that are implemented by the government. That's the first and foremost. And all the international people who are traveling into Bali, all their countries have been through COVID-19 and they've all had to wear masks. They've all gone through the same, policies and procedures that Bali have implemented, and I think that from my experience when I came through the airport and when I left the airport, everybody was wearing their masks. Everybody was following the health protocols. And one thing that I really, need to emphasize here is that the local, Bali government and authorities have done a fantastic job in ensuring that, everybody complies. And it's still here today that, everybody is complying. You won't go down the street without anyone wearing a mask, which is a great thing at the moment. So it's still consistent, which is fantastic.
That's great. Well, Joel, Bartlett, thank you so much and welcome to the new chapter of Bali.
Hey,
Hopefully
thank you very much.
come. All right, then.
We are very excited and thank you very much for your time and looking forward to welcoming you down to Mamaka at some point.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you shortly.
We'll see you shortly.
3 of us will see you shortly.
Have a nice night.
Good evening, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care.